This tutorial is going to explore using video shot with a mobile device in Final Cut Pro to create what hopefully turns out to be a very viable competitive final product. I've plugged my iPhone 4 into my MacBook via USB, and I ran into a little trouble initially because normally my iPhone prompts me to trust the connection in order to open up all the file transfer capabilities. My iPhone didn't do that, but when I opened an application called Image Capture, I was able to navigate into the phone. So I'm fairly optimistic that I can work in Final Cut and pull footage off of there as well. And I can explore both workflows with you to show you how each one works. You notice my Final Cut layout is pretty bare bones right now, and that's because it's always a good idea to re-explore and reinforce the fundamentals of how Final Cut Pro puts projects together. I'm going to create a new library. I'm going to call this Day, because it's for the day in the life video. Notice it's saving to my movies folder. It creates a default event with today's date, April 9th. I'm going to rename that event. I'm going to call it Day 1, just in case I decide to put multiple different videos, day in the life videos together. I could have Day 1, Day 2, Day 3, and have each one be its own event. So now that I've got a library and an event within that library, I'm going to import media. And it looks like, in addition to all my different drives, my iPhone is showing up here at the very top as a camera. And I see a whole series of QuickTime movies. And one thing that's advantageous about going through Final Cut Pro in order to get to your iPhone media is that it looks like Final Cut Pro is only picking out the QuickTime movies that I've recorded on my phone. I've also taken several pictures, and to have to navigate through and make sure I filter out the movies from the pictures would be a huge expense of time. So I'm glad to see this view has gone ahead and done that for me. Now I'm also going to look at the dates the content was created. I shot several yesterday on April 8th in anticipation of this project, and I have a few going back all the way to February. I believe that was our snow day. So actually I am just going to import all of these. And hold down Shift, select the last one, and import selected. So we're going to add to the existing event, Day 1. I'm going to tell it to copy the files to the library and import. You notice the progress window here. I told it to go ahead and copy, so let's see what's going on here. We're importing. Okay, we're going through and just importing the different clips. There's no transcoding taking place. In the meantime, you can look at my Goofy Lab tag-along, who's probably chewed on that ladle at some point, and I'm not sure what he's got eye contact with here, but it's probably something else he'd like to eat. So we're going through importing our clips, and understand, while I'm trying to fill the time here as the progress bar goes through its thing, oftentimes one of the most frustrating parts of media management can be what are called choke points in the process. And one choke point I'm dealing with here is having to move files over a USB connection. If I had a memory card that was plugged directly into the SD reader of this laptop, the file transfer speed would be going much faster. Even if it was on a USB flash drive, I imagine it might go a little more quickly. But because we're connecting a mobile device via USB to a computer and transferring relatively large files, not as big as they could be, of course, we do have to sometimes wait a little bit. And remember that Final Cut is copying the files, so it's not only moving them, it's also copying them to the library. So there's a little bit of read-write going on the hard drive as well. And when I say moving, I might be mistaken there in that Final Cut, I don't believe, is taking the files off of my phone. The phone will still have the files there, but it's copying the data from the phone, carrying it through the USB connection, and writing it to the computer's hard drive. Dismiss this office reminder real quick here. If you're anything like me, you sometimes like to see just how quickly your computer's running. I'm going to look at my activity monitor. Now, QuickTime, and of course while I'm recording on this computer, you can see that QuickTime, my recording device, is taking up some time, and that the kernel itself is working a bit with the copying process. There's a couple other processes running that I might have to go back and see if I can stop those before they even start. It's amazing how much stuff runs on your computer and you're not even aware of it. Okay, it looks like everything's finished copying over. Once we're in this view, you'll notice that we're sorted by date. That's another advantage to recording with a mobile device. Oftentimes, metadata is attached automatically. And so things like the date and file names and everything else can go through pretty quickly and help you sort your data, and you don't have to manually assign that data. So, a brief review just on working with clips. Right now I'm kind of zoomed out, but I can zoom into my media browser. And I'm going to pull out this first clip here of me making coffee in the morning. I'm going to turn my skimming on, just skim through. I'm actually going to pull a couple different things out here. There's one shot I really like. It's where it says ready to brew. That's what starts my day. So I might just pull out that little clip. I marked an in point by pressing the I key, marked an out point. That's only about a second's worth. I'm going to back up a little bit and zoom into it. There we go. Put my in point there. 3 seconds worth of material. And press Q. You know, I've forgotten to do something. I got in such a hurry to start editing, I forgot to create a project within this event. Create a new project. We're going to call it Day 1 in the event, Day 1. And I'm going to tell the Final Cut, make sure to set the properties based on the first video clip. That way I can see what format my phone has shot in. Okay, now I've got a timeline. And I've got an in-out point marked here of my coffee maker. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the Q button, which is connecting. You know what? I take that back. I don't want to connect. Command Z. I want to use the E key to append the clip to the storyline, which is the equivalent of overwriting a clip in Adobe Premiere. Okay, so I've got that first little clip, and let me see here. Can skim through a little more. Get me closing the coffee maker here. There we go. Mark an in point. Mark an out point. And append that. It's kind of a cool shot of the buttons blinking. It's ready to brew, just in case you didn't know. And there we go. Out point. And append that. So you see fairly quickly I've been able to lay out a nice little timeline here. Ready to brew. Okay. So, you know, the first part of my morning, of course, is making the coffee. You can see I got my thumb in the shot up there a little bit. Now, another part of my day that I have to go through is, of course, working with my dogs, getting them up and running in the morning. Now, I decided, even though it wasn't part of the same day that I shot this video, I'm going to get some video of what I call the gruesome twosome, working in the morning, and I'm actually going to just lay out this whole clip. I'm going to start here with my lovely retriever, Snickerdoodle. It's just the sweetest dog ever, good guard dog too. I'm actually going to take this whole clip and append it to my storyline. And you can see that goes for almost a minute. But what's kind of fun about this is a good example of just shooting in a mobile device and trying to keep up with the action as best you can.
Yeah, Doodle Dog.
See, there's Snickerdoodle, and there's my nest of cables behind me that I've been trying to sort through for the past month.
You ready to go outside? You ready to go outside? Where's the scamp?
Yeah.
There's the scamp. Hey, Scampy. Hello, Scampers. Let's go outside.
So, you know, sometimes, as much as it's good to go in and creatively edit, you can have some fun just by following the action, too. Because, you know, this was a snow day. We were all home. And you can hear my daughter in the background saying hi to the puppies. And they're all waiting to go outside. They know something's up. Daddy's usually not home at this time of day.
1, 2.
And out they go into the snow. And the question you always have to ask is how long do you hang with a shot? I'm actually going to trim this one back a little bit because they go out in the snow. They have some initial fun discovering it, but then after that, they're ready to come in and take care of the next order of the day, which is feeding them. And that can often be a chore. So I'm going to get some footage of my Goofy lab. He has a seat. I'm going to cut that real quick right there. And then I cut over to Snickerdoodle. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I'm going to leave this whole clip intact. I'll point there. Append. Play that back. He has a seat. And I pan over to the right.
Give me a sticker.
I pan over to the right. Come on, Mr. Bam Pan. There we go.
Snick.
And then I kind of cut myself off there talking, but that's okay. And now I have some footage of them actually drinking their water. Let me find that. Well, as you can see, this is starting to come together. It's with a lot of footage, it is difficult to tell exactly where things are going to end up and how different things are going to work. And one advantage here is I can zoom in and out of different views to look at things. But I hope that helps. I'll edit in this other part of my day. Sometimes I have to give my daughter a ride to Grandma and Grandpa's or take her with me.
Happy birthday.
They're trying to get her to wish my mom a happy birthday. So you can have some fun with this. You can lay out these clips in any order you like to tell any story you like, whether it's just going through the order of the day or, doing projects for family, anything like that. There's all kinds of fun you can have with these different things. There's footage of the puppies drinking their water. So I can cut right to them. And notice with this clip, another camera technique, notice I was not hesitant to get my camera down on their level and get them drinking their water. And I'm actually going to insert this clip. I'm going to move my CTI over here and use the W key to insert that. So let's see how this cuts together. So there they are playing in the snow. They sit down because they never, and there we go. I actually inserted it between those two clips. And that happens sometimes. So let me undo that insert, move it over here, and insert again. There we go.
Snick.
So I hope you have some fun with this, but ask me for help during class if you need any help putting things together or getting your device to work. I hope this turns out to be a fun project for us, and I appreciate you guys tuning in.